Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Paul and I make videos about Japan's society, life, and culture from the viewpoint of a long-term foreign resident. I've been here for about 18 years. And today's video, in honor of Japan's government seemingly finally moving towards letting in regular tourists, I'm going to share with you 3 of my top tips or strategies for how to take your travel and your experience here in Japan as a tourist to the next level. And that's whether you're a tourist coming to Japan for the first time or you live here like me. These are things that I do myself. Okay, let's start with the first tip or strategy. And that is, or basically has to do with timing. How and when you time the things that you go and see and do. I also call this the don't waste your jet lag tip. If you've just arrived in Japan and you're jet lagged, you came from America or wherever else, you wake up at 4 a.m. in the hotel, don't stay in the hotel. This is actually a perfect opportunity to use that jet lag to your advantage. Go out. Japan has a weird time zone in that it gets light here super early, like 4 or 5 a.m. in the summer. It's already bright outside. And even in the winter, it gets light pretty early. So go outside. You get that beautiful golden early light of the day. There's going to be no one around. The last time I stayed in Kyoto, I did this. I wasn't jet lagged, of course, because I live here, but I got up at 4 a.m. and I went out and I walked around Gion. Gion in the morning, all those tea houses and the traditional Japanese townhouses that are there, in that golden dawn light, it was magical. It was absolutely magical. And I didn't have to wait for people to move so I could take a photo. I didn't have to crowd, like kind of crop out people from my pictures. It was fantastic. So getting up early will not only help you to get that kind of view of the city, but you can also use that to get to certain attractions earlier. For example, Skytree in Tokyo. I highly recommend you go there basically right as it opens because the bus tours haven't shown up yet. So when you go up to the top of Skytree, for instance, there's going to be no one up there or barely anyone. So use those early times to your advantage. Late times can also be good too. I will never forget showing up at Ginkakuji, or the Silver Pavilion in Kyoto, at about 10 minutes to 4, and it closes at 4, so I was one of the last people to enter. And I took my time. It wasn't like there was someone shooing me, all right, you have to get out, we're moving everyone out. No, you could take your time, and at some point I turned around and I saw this, and I took this photo. And talk about perfect. It was like the Kyoto Tourist Bureau had hired me and shoot everyone away so I could take a perfect photo. But no, it was just the result of good timing. And the thing about shrines like Fushimi Inari and other famous shrines is they don't close. Temples will close and they can close their gates and they often charge for admission to the really famous temples. But shrines are free and they never close. So again, early in the morning, late at night, go enjoy basically having an experience there by yourself. Okay, the second strategy that I'm going to talk about is actually what I'm doing right now, and that is walking. If you are in decent enough shape, I would actually highly recommend that you incorporate some walking into your experience. And what I mean by that is, if you're in Kyoto, for example, again, it's a beautiful city just to walk around. It's pretty difficult to get lost, and even if you did, you could just flag down a taxi. And you're going to see and experience so much, and that's the real way to get the vibe and the feeling of a city, is to walk it. Even Tokyo, a major megalopolis, and you might feel intimidated to walk anywhere, has some really great routes to walk. Some of my favorites include Shimbashi to Ginza or Harajuku to Shibuya. Like, Tokyo tends to feel like a bunch of train station islands. Like you get onto the train at Shinjuku Island and you get off at Shibuya Island and then you get back on and you go to Tokyo Island. Yeah, you kind of see Tokyo out of the windows of the train, but it's not the same as when you walk it. And you get the feel and you get the vibe, and you'll see all kinds of cool little shops and restaurants and cafes that you never would have seen otherwise. The last time I was in Kyoto, I was there for an event, and I walked back from the event to the station. And I got into conversation with a couple of locals. I ended up buying souvenirs for my family and coworkers from a local wagashi or Japanese sweets shop. And it felt that much more special to give those souvenirs from this place that had been there 120 years allegedly to my coworkers and family, rather than something that I grabbed at the train station and got on my bullet train 20 seconds later. So highly recommend get out and just walk around. The third recommendation or strategy that I would recommend for taking your Japan travel experience to a new and better level is take some risks. And risk is maybe not exactly the correct word because, well, it's a risk that is very likely to pay off, so it's not much of a risk. It's more like get over your fear of trying something that you may not immediately feel comfortable doing. And what I mean by that, I'll give a simple example. You come across two restaurants. The one on the left is well lit. It's got a menu outside, and there's an English version of the menu, and there's plastic food to show you pretty much exactly what is on that menu in visual form. And next to that is a place that just looks super local. It's got really understated decor, and the menu that they have out front looks like it's only in Japanese. I highly recommend you actually choose door number 2. Go ahead and give that place a try. I just did this in Nagano when I went there in July. You can actually see in my video the place that I ended up eating. It's the first video I made in Nagano towards the end. And basically unpretentious local place, and it was so good. I enjoyed the experience so much, and I wouldn't have traded that for the kind of chain izakaya that was next door, or the giant like chicken sign fried chicken place that was right outside my hotel. I mean, how often did Anthony Bourdain eat in the hotel for breakfast or for anything, right? Sure, it's perfectly natural to feel hesitant. You might be worried about language barrier. You might be worried that they might not accept you in there for some reason. But honestly, 99% of the time, you're going to end up having an unforgettable experience that you wouldn't have had at a family restaurant or just buying some quick food from the convenience store or whatever. I mean, Japanese convenience are great, but seriously, take those doors that look a little bit intimidating and take those risks, because in the end, it'll pay off, like today. Check this out. I have never been to this shrine before, but take a look. I took my own risk coming up a hillside that I've never climbed before, and I found this genuinely cool spot. So with those 3 strategies, maybe you can make your Japan experience that much more memorable. And if you live here, go out and try them yourself. get out of the mold that you've maybe, or the bubble that you've maybe put yourself into. Well, there you have it, a little adventure for today. Thank you for coming along with me, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe if that's your thing. And I do put out a video every single Friday about life in Japan, so please look for those and my past content as well. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.